The alien general called humans weak. Then saw our children, playing on a Deathworld general. Zektar of the Vorthak Empire adjusted his environmental suit for the third time as the transport shuttle descended toward the human colony world, designated Terra 7. The atmospheric readings made his mandibles click nervously. Gravity 1.2 times standard, oxygen levels that would burn Vorthak lungs, and electromagnetic storms that regularly swept across the surface with enough force to disable most civilized technology. "This is madness," he muttered to his aide, Commander Velos. "No species could possibly thrive in such conditions." The humans had been a puzzle since first contact 6 months ago. Their ships were crude, their technology primitive by galactic standards, and their physical capabilities seemed laughably inadequate. Yet somehow, they had managed to establish colonies on worlds that even the mighty Vorthak military classified as uninhabitable death traps. "Perhaps that's why the High Command wants to recruit them," Velos suggested diplomatically. "Cannon fodder for worlds too dangerous for proper soldiers." Zektar's 4 eyes narrowed. The Galactic Council had been pressuring the Empire to expand their recruitment beyond traditional warrior species. These humans seemed perfect for the role, desperate, primitive, and expendable. His mission was simple: assess their military potential and negotiate terms for conscription. The shuttle touched down on a landing pad that looked like it had been carved directly from volcanic rock. As they disembarked, Zektar immediately understood why humans needed such heavy environmental protection. The air itself seemed to crackle with energy, and the ground trembled with minor seismic activity that would send most civilized beings fleeing in terror. Ambassador Sarah Chen greeted them at the landing platform, her environmental suit a patchwork of repairs and modifications that spoke of long experience with hostile conditions. "Welcome to New Kamchatka, General. I hope your journey wasn't too uncomfortable." "Adequate," Zektar replied curtly, his translator rendering his words in accented standard. "I trust this facility has proper shielding. My equipment is already registering dangerous radiation levels." Chen's helmet display showed what the general assumed was amusement. "Oh, this is actually a pretty calm day for us. The real storms don't usually start until evening. Would you like a tour of our settlement?" As they walked through the colony, Zektar found himself increasingly confused. The humans had built their structures low and reinforced, clearly designed to withstand regular catastrophe. Yet they moved through their environment with casual confidence, chatting and laughing as if they weren't living on a world that could kill them at any moment. "Your colonists seem remarkably calm," he observed. "Are they not aware of the dangers?" "Oh, they're aware," Chen replied. "But humans are pretty adaptable. We've been living in harsh environments for thousands of years. This is actually considered a pleasant assignment compared to some of our worlds." They paused at the edge of what appeared to be a recreational area. Zektar's environmental sensors immediately began shrieking warnings as he watched small humans, children, he realized with horror, running and playing in the open air. Their protection was minimal: simple breathing masks and light clothing that would offer no protection against the radiation, temperature fluctuations, or atmospheric pressure that should have killed them instantly. "By the void," he whispered. "Those are your young. They're outside, without proper protection." Chen followed his gaze and smiled. "Kids need exercise and fresh air. Don't worry, they're tougher than they look." As if to prove her point, one of the children, who couldn't have been more than 7 standard years old, stumbled and fell directly onto the razor-sharp volcanic rock. Zektar watched in fascination as the small human simply picked himself up, brushed off the blood from several cuts, and continued playing as if nothing had happened. "That child is injured," Zektar said faintly. "Tommy? He's fine. Kids heal fast, and they need to learn to handle themselves in rough conditions. We can't bubble wrap them forever. Zektar's worldview began to shift as he watched more closely. These weren't the soft, weak creatures he had expected. The children were playing a game that involved throwing heavy stones with enough force to dent metal. They were laughing as they dodged between geysers of superheated steam that erupted randomly from the ground. One young female actually grabbed a small predator, something that looked capable of tearing through Vorthak armor, and gently relocated it away from their play area. "Ambassador," he said slowly, "what would you consider a dangerous world?" Chen's expression grew thoughtful. "Well, there are places we don't send families. The sulfur mining colonies on Hades 3, for instance. The atmosphere there will dissolve exposed skin in minutes. Or the ice harvesting stations around Fenrir. The gravity there is about 3 times what you're experiencing here, and the cold can freeze hydrogen solid. And you have people working in such places?" "Oh, yes. Volunteers, mostly. The pay is excellent, and some folks actually prefer the challenge." That evening, Zektar watched the promised electromagnetic storm roll across the landscape. Lightning. That could power a city danced across the sky while the humans simply battened down and continued with their daily routines. He observed children doing homework by the light of electrical displays that would have fried Vorthak nervous systems, completely unbothered by the apocalyptic light show outside their windows. During dinner, he listened to casual conversation about weather patterns that included phrases like Class 5 hurricane season and the year the supervolcano had a minor eruption. These humans spoke of planetary disasters the way his people discussed mild inconveniences. "Tell me," he asked Ambassador Chen as the meal wound down, "what do humans consider relaxing recreation?" Chen brightened. "Oh, we have lots of hobbies. Rock climbing, deep-sea diving, extreme sports. My personal favorite is volcano surfing, riding the lava flows on specialized boards. Though I know people who prefer base jumping from orbital platforms or free diving in crushing ocean depths." Zektar felt something that might have been respect beginning to form. These weren't the weak, primitive creatures he had expected to recruit as expendable soldiers. These were beings who considered Deathworlds to be suitable nurseries for their young. "Ambassador," he said carefully, "I believe there has been a fundamental misunderstanding in my mission here." "Oh?" "The Empire was prepared to offer your people positions as auxiliary forces, support roles in dangerous territories unsuitable for our regular military." Chen's smile was sharp. "And now?" Zektar looked out at the storm-lashed landscape where humans lived and thrived, where their children played games that would kill trained Vorthak warriors. He thought of his own elite soldiers, pampered and protected in climate-controlled ships, afraid to set foot on worlds that human families called home. "Now," he said quietly, "I think the Empire needs to reconsider who would be auxiliary to whom." Later that night, as he composed his report to the High Command, General Zektar chose his words carefully. The humans weren't the primitive weaklings they had appeared to be. They were something far more dangerous, a species that had evolved not just to survive in hostile environments, but to thrive in them. Their children played on worlds that would be classified as maximum security prisons by galactic standards. The Empire had been looking for soldiers. Instead, they had found something much more valuable, teachers who could show them what true strength really meant. His final recommendation was simple: approach humanity not as recruits, but as equals. And perhaps, if they were very lucky, the humans might be willing to share some of their secrets for turning Deathworlds into playgrounds. After all, any species that considered volcanic lightning storms to be suitable weather for children's games was clearly playing by rules that the rest of the galaxy had never even imagined.